Northrop Grumman has assembled its Protected Tactical SATCOM Payload and started integration into the space vehicle. The system itself is going to provide secure, resilient communications for military operations in contested environments, which we know that communications is key in those environments. Meeting tight deadlines for space vehicle integration could be challenged by supply chain constraints in electronic components. I feel like we've been talking a lot about supply chain this week. PTS technology is essential for enhancing the military's communication network resilience. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, the real challenge here is not about the payload's capabilities or configuration. It's about hitting those tight deadlines. So again, while you're juggling your supply chain constraints for electronic components, space is not forgiving. Delays in sourcing a single critical component can throw off your entire integration schedule. So if Northrop Grumman can't deliver on time, that secure communication pathway may not matter much when it's stuck on Earth instead of orbiting.
And delivering these on time is going to be further complicated because this system provides a tailor-made, dependable communications pathway for each user, capable of fighting through the attempts of adversaries to disrupt the connections. So it's going to require a good configuration management system, because this is a case where not all of these products being made are exactly the same. So I think looking at how you're going to do that, how are you going to configure the final results, make sure the customers are happy with it. That's going to be the biggest thing to look at here.
So you're getting jazzed up about configuration management.
I thought I'd change it up and not talk about testing for once.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's important. I will say again, it's important, but it's kind of cart before horse, really. I getting configuration management makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Don't get me wrong, but let's be honest, no amount of perfect configurations are going to help if Northrop's team is stuck waiting for a shipment of components to clear customs. Deadlines win wars. I'm about to put an article out, which is speed wins wars, not paperwork. So without the components to integrate that payload, your fancy tailored communication system is just a glorified paperweight. Supply chain issues, for me, for high-end electronics are the silent killer on this one. And if Northrop doesn't lock that down, even the best config management won't save them from missing their deadlines and losing the edge.
I mean, having to deal with configuration management actually makes the supply chain you're talking about even more complicated, because you have to also plan for what is this customer going to want, what changes do we need to make. So I think that that even makes it a more complicated thing. So you're right, we got to knock down that supply chain and figure out how do we make sure that your silent killer doesn't kill here.
But to knock down that supply chain, so that whole planning issue, you've got to have your configuration management, your variant configuration all stacked and lined up, haven't you? I mean, that's essential. So to
Greg,
fix
did you
this,
see that I just told Andrew he was right and then he just told me I was right? Is that really what just happened here?
Yeah, it's that subtle nuance between solution and problem.
Too weird. Don't do that again.
What, me dancing?
No.
Definitely don't do that again.
Don't do that ever again.
The two of you telling each other
Kill camera. Solution. Supply chain again. Supply chain management integrations got to be there. Develop direct partnerships with electronic component suppliers to make sure you've got priority access. Use real-time tracking systems to proactively identify potential delays and reroute your sourcing as required. And then product structure and configuration management. There it is. Design modular payloads to allow for any last-minute substitutions or alternate sourcing without impacting your overall functionality. So basically a flexible approach that will keep everything moving.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to, as long as you know where you're headed, you can figure out how you're supposed to get there, which in a lot of cases, starts with the supplies. Well, I would argue starts with requirements, but that's a whole nother discussion I'm sure we'll get into later.
Inevitably. The requirements got to come in later, isn't it? Yeah.
See you next week.